Hello everyone, I'm Damien Helin, Editor-in-Chief at Alterock. Today, I'm delighted to take you to Boston to discover a true success story. Chris Maclin is the CEO of Empyrean, a company specializing in risk and performance management software for financial institutions. He brings over 20 years of experience in the financial software industry, particularly in the fields of risk and compliance. Together, we'll explore how Empyrean is addressing today's key challenges in the financial sector, from tighter regulations and growing data complexity to the increasing expectations of regulators. And of course, we'll discuss its private equity fundraising with AG.
I've been working with financial risk management software my entire career, so that's been about 30 years. Prior to Empyrean, I had spent my time primarily at large fintech organizations. It was at my time at those organizations that I was able to come across and meet the team from Empyrean, who at the time was just 3 founders working out of their proverbial garage, I guess, as a original startup type organization. What was interesting to me is, as I was out in the marketplace talking to a handful of their clients, was just the tremendous feedback that I'd heard in regards to their software. And so I ultimately approached them and asked them, I was like, hey guys, I talked to your clients, they're so excited, why haven't you been able to have a further reach out into the market? And they basically said, hey, we like what we're doing. We're technology guys. We're developers. We don't really focus a lot on business development. So I approached them. I told them, I said, hey, I'd love to kind of pull together an investment team, work with you guys. If I were able to come join you, I'd love to take on the commercial side of sales and implementations. And I think we could really have some success bringing your software out to a much broader market. And so we were able to come to an agreement to bring all of that together. I joined the team at Empyrean back in 2017, and we were able to expand the business from, at the time, less than 10 clients to today we have somewhere between 700 and 800 clients. My first impression was, as I mentioned, they were literally 3 guys working out of a garage. They were sort of doing everything on by themselves. They were developing the software. They were trying to sell the software, they were supporting it, and it was really just 3 or 4 guys coming together to do that. What was really, to me, the opportunity was they had a phenomenal piece of software. They just needed help getting it in front of more people, getting more exposure, and ultimately, once more and more banks and credit unions were able to see what it was capable of, it just kind of took off like wildfire. The interesting thing about this space is it's very much word of mouth. So you can do all the marketing, you can do all the advertising and social media that you want, but ultimately we're relying on the CFOs and the treasurers of these banks and credit unions to be happy, to be satisfied with the product and the company. And if they are, they'll tell their colleagues, and that was really sort of the key to our growth over the last 7 or 8 years. Our mission, if you look out into the universe of software and financial technology, you often hear of the office of the CFO. And so we certainly fit within the office of the CFO with a specific focus on banks and credit unions. That's who we're targeting. The one thing that we do slightly differently is we want to take it beyond just the office of the CFO, and we really want to make it what we consider the office of the dynamic CFO. Oftentimes, in this industry, the CFOs of the banks and credit unions that we work with, too often they are the recipient of information and just reacting to reports and information that they're given without the real ability to make dynamic decisions and dynamic strategies that assist the organization in being profitable and making good decisions for the bank or credit union. So with our software, we want to transform that from not just a reporting platform, but something that they can take the information in, run different strategies, run different scenarios, and really be able to make good decisions for the bank or credit union that result ultimately in revenue and profitability beyond what they could expect without a solution like Empyrean. It's funny, I feel like as growing as fast as we have over the last 7 or 8 years, it always seems like we're surpassing some milestone, and they're all worthy of celebration. We've hit our first $1 million of ARR back in 2018. We hit 100 employees. Last year, we did $10 million of ARR just in 2024 alone. This year, we're going to surpass $50 million of ARR as an organization. So we're in a fun, unique position that with the success that we've had, it seems like every year, every few months, there's something to celebrate, something to get the team together and be proud of, and we hope that continues as we go forward. For us, one of the key things is we were really looking for a partner. We were in a really fortunate position as a company at our size to be not only tremendously, we've had tremendous success with our growth, but we were also quite profitable. Last year, we had, I think, 40% growth with a 30% margin. So that was a rule of 70 company, which I think is relatively unique in our space. So with that profitability, we weren't really looking for money to come into the organization to fund any specific projects. We were looking for a true partner that was going to be able to help us scale from where we are today, which is $50 million in revenue and ARR, to $100, $150, $200 million of ARR. And so we went through a very targeted search in terms of private equity firms that were out there. Went through, spent the whole summer talking to different firms, interviewing them, working with them, and ultimately it became very clear that working with HG was going to be the partner that we wanted to work with. We feel extremely fortunate to have been able to connect with these guys and with the team at HG, and they've just been a tremendous resource as we've been able to kind of continue to scale and build out the organization. We have now access to some really talented, brilliant individuals as part of the HG operating team. On a daily basis, I get to work with an operating partner who's been a part of 18 exits over the course of his career, having been a senior executive at Microsoft. He has been an invaluable resource for me as we continue to build out the infrastructure to scale the organization as we go forward. In addition to that, we've brought in people to assist with our go-to-market function, with our technology, with our customer support. All these various areas we've been able to kind of work with experts from the HG team to make sure that we're maximizing our abilities and hopefully ensuring our success as we go forward. So it's been great working with the team. The one area which perhaps above all else that I think we've benefited from was the investment and the knowledge that HG has been able to provide around AI. Frankly, up until our investment with HG in November of last year, we had been toying with AI, perhaps like a lot of companies. We figured we would set up an LLM model to answer questions and customer support, things like that. But there wasn't a true dedication and a true investment in AI. With HG coming in November, we've now formalized an entire investment around AI, and that's really paying dividends, especially within our technology and our development team. In the past, it had taken us roughly a year to a year and a half to come out with a new product that we would be able to successfully cross-sell into our client base. We are in the process now of releasing our first AI-enhanced product that we're going to be coming out with, and we've been able to do that and accomplish that in 3 months. And so to be able to take what was a 12 to 18-month development process and bring that down to 3 to 4 months due to the AI enhancements, that only could have been done with the help from HG. Our experience with HG has been overwhelmingly positive. And honestly, prior to engaging with a firm and a PE firm as large as HG, I and some of the other members of our board at Empyrean had some concerns working with a private equity. Of course, we've all heard good and bad stories of companies working with private equity, and you want to make sure that you find the right partner out there. So in terms of, if you think of sparring partner in the context of private equity as a negative, that certainly hasn't been our experience. But if you think of a sparring partner as someone that you can bounce ideas off of, someone that you can approach when you're just not quite sure what the right road to go down is, that's really where we felt that the benefit of working with a company like HG has come into play. So to have that team of experts, that team of individuals that are there working with us on a daily basis, helping us make the best decisions, helping us bounce ideas off them, and they can share what has worked best in other portfolio companies, that has been invaluable. And so from that perspective, as a sparring partner, it's been great, and we certainly expect to see that continue into the future. So one of the things that we pride ourselves, perhaps amongst anything else here at Empyrean, is the focus that we put on our customers. For me, having spent all those years at the large fintech companies, oftentimes the customer is not put at the top of the list when making decisions. And that's certainly one of the things that we've tried to do throughout our career here at Empyrean. As I mentioned earlier, the fact that word of mouth is so critical within the business that we are in, we have to make sure all of our clients are happy. We aim to achieve 100% referenceability across our products and across our clients. So to be able to make sure that we're providing that high level of service is critical to us. I think when it comes to AI, where that has been the most beneficial is frankly some of the development that we're putting into the products. So we're able to come out with new features and functions faster, quicker. We're able to respond to our clients' requests and needs and things that they'd like to see in the software in a way that we simply weren't able to even just 12 months ago. So as long as we can continue that cadence of coming out with the features and functions that our clients are looking for, we expect to continue to maintain that high level of customer service, customer support, customer satisfaction, which again will just continue to drive our growth within this industry. I think if I'm looking out 5 years, at the core of what we're trying to do is to make the financial system safer for banks and credit unions. When you take a look what happened a few years ago with companies like Silicon Valley Bank or First Republic Bank, those are the type of things that frankly are avoidable, and software like ours can help identify and predict events that perhaps will lead to a very bad situation for banks and credit unions that are out there. So I think the more banks and credit unions that we're out working with, engaging with, supporting, we truly believe that we're making the overall financial system here in North America safer for consumers to invest in these banks, for the banks to make good decisions, and ultimately reinvest back into their communities, knowing that they're making the best decisions both for their organization and for their customers.